Welcome, everyone, back here at the filling station for another episode with a great guest. We have another VIP. We call our board members VIPs. This is Kenneth Spivey.
Yeah.
So great to have you in the studio today.
You. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I shared with our audience that we were going to have a great lineup for 2026 of folks coming into the studio. And the reason we built this studio is so that we could interview all the wonderful people behind the scenes. Yeah. And you're one of those great people.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to get to know you when I received your application. Actually, it's not an application. It was a board member information to serve on the board.
Right.
And so I didn't see very much information on there. So I picked up the phone and I said, Kenneth, tell me all about you. And then about 30 minutes later, I knew the full story. So why don't you share a little bit about you, your background and your work, a little bit about your family?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question or mentioned that because I was going to say it myself, but let me just go back. I'm going to try not to go back too far, but I'll start with my military career. I was in the Marine Corps and I served our country for 20 years. And, after the 20 years, I always decided that I wanted to come back to North Carolina. But my plans was to buy a boat and go fishing, but that didn't happen.
You still have time.
No, I'm just glad to be here in North Carolina and, helping out with the community in some capacity. After the military, I did do a little mentoring work, with individuals. Some may have disabilities in some kind of way. And from there, I went to Craven County Department of Social Services, and I served there for 24 years.
Wow.
And as you can see, my career total has been serving. Just as I serve, the country, now I'm serving communities. And I'm married. I'm not going to try to say how many years, and I hope my wife don't get mad about that, but it's been, I'm going to say about, 22 years. Mm-hmm. And I have children, grandchildren, and a happy family,
full life,
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm on the board here at the filling station, and I'm also on committees. And like Mary Ann was saying, how I got to be on the board was my pastor Charlie Dunn Jr. at Trenton
Christian
Faith Assembly. He asked me to be on the board here at filling station. At that time, I didn't know anything about the filling station, but after a while, I know he was talking about it, and I just like, Then finally I said, okay. And I was telling him I didn't know anything about it. And he told me that it would be great for me. So, when your pastor leading you in a direction and saying that is great for you and, you should go that way. So after that, I had to do, I don't know if I can call it a questionnaire.
Yeah.
That I was sent. And I'm like, how do I fill this out? Do I go back to all the way? I'm originally from Chicago, and I was in Chicago before I went to the military. And I was saying, do I go all the way back to Chicago like an autobiography? So I was asking, what do I do? What do I do? So I probably, well, I went, started probably when I was in the military. And, I was sort of answering questions and writing down, which, I didn't know what to put down or anything like that. And thereafter, I received a phone call from you.
And we had a great conversation.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you called, because when you talk to somebody person to person,
different.
yes, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
You can get some information that you don't get on paper.
That's right.
And I asked questions to you about the filling station. And you also asked me the questions that I guess was sort of blank or didn't have enough information.
Right.
And like I say, I was so glad that you called and that we had that conversation.
Yeah. Well, Charlie served 2 terms, and charter board member. The church has been a part from the very beginning. So much of the foundation that the community and the state of North Carolina sees it goes back to those charter board members. And Charlie served on the programs committee, did an amazing job. And having served 2 terms, he knew what he was asking of you.
Yeah.
He also knew that the foundation had been set in such a way that you'd have a good springboard.
Okay.
And you filled his spot on the programs committee.
Yes.
And you're now serving on the Perfect 10 committee.
Yes, I am.
So would love for you to share a little bit about your experience in working with those committees. You also are a Leadership Jones graduate.
Yes.
So if you could share a little bit about what you've learned and your takeaways.
As far as the P10, before I was actually on the committee, I was actually a volunteer. And once again, I didn't know much about, what was going on, but during that time I learned what was going on, and I thought that it was a great idea, And also I was there for the bridge run. I think it's called the News News Bridge Run. And I was volunteering for that.
And it's coming up May 1st and 2nd.
Yes,
so we look forward to seeing you down there again.
I'll be there again. No problem. I can do that, since I'm retired, long as I know in advance. And since then, I've been on the P10 committee, and, I've learned great things from other people that's on that in that committee. And what I found out is that the filling station is doing great things for the community. And this year, it was brought together that the community had came to the filling station instead of being spread out throughout 10 Mile Fort Road.
Right. I like the change, didn't you?
I love it. It was great that way. Everybody together, everybody can be social and, talk to each other. And we had great volunteers.
Well, you were in charge of organizing the volunteers and what time they showed up and when they were going to do what. You worked really closely with our staff and doing that, and
with Marcy,
it worked great.
Yes, it did, and that was the first time I ever did that. And I'm like, is there a sheet to go by or something? But it wasn't. But it wasn't that difficult to. You just get the information and plug it in there, and the leadership. Jones, I don't know how I got to go to the class. Maybe you asked me.
Well, we always like to have a board member to represent the board in every cohort.
Yes.
And so at the board meeting that year, we asked who would like to
Right.
be the board member representative. And you
Right.
said, I'll do it.
And of course, I always say yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, once again, it's all about helping the community. Just to go back before I go there, I live in Craven County, and I'm serving, on the board. I'm on the board and serving people in the community in Jones County. So I want to say it doesn't matter where you live or what county you live. It's all about serving.
That's right.
Not to be served, but serve others.
It sounds like you've got a great foundation there.
Yes, I do.
From Christian Faith Assembly.
Yes, I do. I've been there for quite some time. So the Leadership Jones, I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm like, leadership, I've been through many classes, in the military for leadership because, those are requirements. So I'm like, well, what can they teach me? Really, I was like that.
Now, I know that when Theresa Lee sees this video, she can't wait to hear this next part.
Right.
What can she teach me?
Yeah. So I talked to her about that, and she said, you just wait and see. So when she began the class, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is different, totally different. So that got me going, my brain going, and I listened to everything, and I'm the type of person that try to apply some of the leadership skills, and leadership doesn't just have to be you're working. It can apply to other areas of your life. And one thing we learned: be a leader where you are, not waiting for some specific times where you are. Because if you make a mistake while you're down at the beginning of that leadership, it would not affect the organization as bad as when you're, I'm going to say, on top.
Right.
Where it can really affect
the
organization real bad.
I'm glad that you brought that up. I feel like that people, when they are aspiring in their careers, they're a little afraid to take those risks. But what I'm hearing you say is, hey, if you take those risks along the way and lead where you are, then it'll be a whole lot more beneficial the longer.
Yeah. And, I learned a lot about conflict.
Conflict resolution,
It's just so much I've learned in that class. And like I said, it was totally different. So by it being different, I also go to the other leadership class that Miss Theresa have to offer.
So once you graduated,
then
you came back and supported the other cohorts.
Yes, and yes, I love that, and not just that is you learn more, and with each class I learned that it evolves.
Yes.
You learning more, you learning something different. The assignments that they have it every year is more and more. I don't want to use the word difficult.
Challenging.
Challenging, yes. And, in this last class, I told them to treat this assignment as if it's for real.
Yeah.
Don't just throw something together. Actually do it like it's for real, because you never know who might want to use that information. Right. And I know the people here in Jones County I'm not going to say use, they look at it or maybe discuss it.
They certainly consider the views, the opinions, the research, because, the projects that are given in Leadership Jones, lots of research goes into that, and many, many hours of conversation about different perspectives and pros and cons. And so from the county's perspective, when the county manager and the commissioners, and they're looking at, what are community members saying about a subject, it gives them some great
Yes.
talking points,
Mm-hmm.
about the growth and the expansion
Yeah.
and the betterment
Yeah.
of this county. So, and it's very exciting that we have this leadership conference coming
Yes.
up
Yes.
March 19th and 20th, and with 50 graduates, you being one of those, I am sure that you will be called upon
Yes.
and to bring a really rich and exciting day and a half conference.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is 150 people. That's what our goal is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and knowing that we're pulling from other counties too, not
Okay.
just Jones County.
Right. Right.
If somebody really wants to learn more about Jones
Mm-hmm.
County and they're living in Craven like you, or
Yes.
Lenore, Carteret, Onslow, coming in and learning
Yes.
about the county you want to serve.
Yes.
I think this is a great 5-county opportunity. And so I'm excited because I
Yeah.
know that you're going to have a lot to share at that conference.
Maybe I better not say too much. Sometimes
you,
I think
you don't
I
want to
say
share too much with our audience
Yes,
because you want to save a few little
yes.
nuggets
Yes.
for
But
the conference.
I want to go back a little bit. My daughter, she lives in Charlotte, and she got a supervisor position.
Well,
And yeah,
congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I asked her about leadership,
Uh-huh.
and she was like, "Oh, I was born to leadership." And I'm like, "Oh," I said, "No, you wasn't born a leader," and I had to go back in my resources and find, a quote about that you're not born. And I sent her that information. So
What'd she say?
now she understands.
What did she say when you sent that to her?
I don't remember the exact words. She just understand now.
Yeah.
And I said, don't say that anymore because I've used that before myself when I was in the military. I had to write a paper, and it was called Creole back then. And I wrote, you had to tell the instructor what your subject matter is. And I said, I was born a leader.
Interesting.
Oh,
Interesting when you hear that from your daughter, you had a perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And I told her about it.
Yeah.
And he like, you think you was born a leader? Blah. And I was like, I had to rethink that. So I wrote something else. And one thing about the leadership class, I think one thing that I can bring there is I always say I think outside the box,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
when you're being trained, because that gives the other members, I'm going to use the word members, a different perspective on things, not just what you see in your class. I'm outside the class. Let me throw something in there to get your thinking different.
Yeah.
And I think it works sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, oh, get out. We got this.
Yeah.
Young minds.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, definitely you have some tendencies when you're born to think a certain way. However, you and I both know, and being around this Leadership Jones project for the past 3 years, that it really is a learned.
Yes,
it is. It is very much learned skills, learning to think, critical thinking skills, learning how to ask good questions,
Oh, most
and
definitely.
most of all, listening, learning how to listen, not necessarily to be able to respond, but learning how to really process what the person is saying, even when you don't agree. And we don't. We certainly see a lot of that going on in the world today. And in our strategic plan, it is written that we are a premier connection of people and resources in Jones County and the world. And several people have asked us about the world part in our strategic plan. And we have always responded around the table that we hope that what we're doing here at the filling station and in Jones County is a ripple effect.
Yes, I was thinking.
Right? A ripple effect out into the world. And well, you just stated an example. Your daughter's in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So this certainly has rippled effect, not only to Charlotte, but probably Chicago too, where you're from.
Yeah.
So, man, we have had a really fabulous conversation. I want to say congratulations again to you for being recognized in December at our volunteer appreciation event for over 100 hours of service in 2025.
Yeah.
And we just appreciate you serving on the committees as a board member, looking for opportunities wherever you can add value. And we really, really appreciate it, Kenneth, so much. We thank you for the church's continued partnership. We're going into our 9th year, and we cannot do this work, first and foremost, without the prayers of the churches.
Right.
And then for the pastors to recommend people like you to serve. And so I really, really appreciate it. Do you want to share any last comments before we finish?
I want to say, myself, I want to thank the volunteers, because they do an amazing job. I can see, all the things that they do. Well, not all of them, because some things behind the scenes that you don't see.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank them for what, they do a great job, because, serving others is, it's not easy. You have to want to serve others. It's something not like, oh, I'm going to just do this.
Yeah.
You have to care for people. You have to want to do it. And like when I was at social services, everybody couldn't do that job. It's something that you want to do.
And we're grateful that you bring that 24 history to the board as we develop programming, and we really do appreciate that.
Okay.
So thank you again for joining me for a great, great conversation, Kenneth.
Thank you.
And thank you again for joining us for another episode here at the filling station. And we're looking forward to seeing you at the Leadership Jones Spring Conference. It will be at the Jones County Civic Center, March 19th and 20th. Go ahead and mark your calendar. It's a day and a half of amazing information, connection. And registration will be opening on our website, fillingstation1075.com. You will see that registration opening at the end of next week, and we'll see you there. Have a great day. Bye-bye.